everybody. It's Angie Rupert, founder of Rupert Law. We handle exclusively E1 and E2 visas, so no matter what treaty country you're from and what state you want to be in, we can help. Today we're going to cover E1 visas a little bit, some recent approvals for E1 visas in Canada, and I wanted to go into some of the detail there. But before we begin, please take a moment to like and subscribe. And of course, if you feel that these videos are useful, and we hope that you do, please share with a friend or family member. So with that bit of housekeeping out of the way, let's talk a little bit about some Canadian E1 approvals that we've had, just some of the details so you can kind of get a sense for what a successful E1 application may look like. So let's talk a little bit about that. We have three today I'd like to talk about. So the first one, and they're all a little bit different, right? They have different kinds of services and goods, different trade amounts, different actual monetary amounts. So it gives you a little bit of a sense. It's not, you're not stuck in one particular box, okay, with the E1 visa, the types of goods or services, the amounts, that type of thing. We're going to see a little fluctuation, and maybe you can kind of get a sense of if your business that's located maybe in your home country, maybe in Canada that trades with the US, or any treaty country, if it might be able to work and fit for an E2, or I'm sorry, an E1 visa. So let's talk a little bit about that. First of all, we have a Canadian client who was offering services, right? It was a marketing and advertising agency, okay, with US clients, of course. So over the course of 18 months prior to approval, they had trade valued at $2.3 million USD, and they had 600 trades, right? 600 times someone from the US was paying Canada to do the work in Canada, right? So that's one of the keys with services is the work has to be done in Canada. The clients or the vendors are located in the United States. So the US people were paying the Canadian entity. The Canadian entity was doing the advertising and marketing services. 600 trades over the course of 18 months for a total of 2.3 million USD. Okay, that was number one. Number two was an engineering and manufacturing firm for clients in the oil and gas industry here in the US. Again, a Canadian firm providing engineering services, some manufacturing of parts and things like that, selling the services and the parts to US oil and gas customers. So for the 14 months prior to application, the amount of trade there was 296,000 USD and 33 trades. Okay, so fewer trades, a little bit less in terms of about 10% actually of the trade, still approvable. Very interesting, right? So you can see that there's some variation there. Let's see. We also have, now this is actually a product. We have a skincare products. So the products were being packaged, designed, and all of that in Canada, and then being sold to US customers. These were like different types of, I think, moisturizers, different types of skincare products, okay, coming from Canada to the United States. US clients paying the Canadian company shipping to the US. So for the 12 months prior to application, there were $260,000 USD coming from the US to Canada in 9,000 trades, right? Because we were selling one moisturizer at a time. So lots and lots of trades for $260,000. That's in the 12 months prior to application. So you can see that there's some variance here, right? There's nothing that's set in stone. The E2 is or the E1 is a little bit like the E2 in that way, right? There's a lot of leeway, but you still have to show that you meet those requirements. So, if you are interested in the E1 visa, and we hope that you are, it's an amazing visa. Don't tell anybody, but it's my favorite visa that the United States offers. I think it's the most flexible and the most amazing if you meet the requirements. But we'd love to speak with you about your business that trades with the United States. If you're Canadian or not Canadian, it just so happens there are a lot of Canadian E1s out there. But we'd love to speak with you about your E1 visa. So call anytime. We'd like to talk with you about your E1 visa.